Hey everyone, I hope you're doing good. I'm not feeling well today, so I'll only be posting 3 videos today. I hope I can get back to posting normally on Monday, but if I'm still sick, I'll have to reduce the number of videos I upload. Thanks for understanding. During a swim, my 5-year-old son accidentally splashed water onto a woman nearby. The woman shrieked and jumped away. My husband rushed over, and without a word of explanation, he shoved our son under the water to punish him. Gerald, I screamed, grabbing his arm. Are you insane? It's just a splash. How can you treat a child like this? He ignored me. His hand clamped around Miles' throat, pressing him under. Only when my son's struggles weakened, his small limbs slowing, his body going limp, did Gerald finally let go. I hauled Miles out of the water, but it was too late. His little chest was still, his face pale, his body lifeless. And Gerald? He didn't even glance at him. Instead, he turned to the trembling woman, his expression soft with concern. It's all right now, he murmured. The child was being naughty, but I taught him a lesson. The woman leaned against him, eyes shining with false fear. He scared me to death, Gerald. Thank goodness you were here to protect me. Something in me broke. This was the woman. The one I had learned about from the file delivered that morning, his so-called unforgettable first love. The woman he had carried in his heart for 10 years. With trembling hands, I typed a single command on my phone. Activate Level 1 contingency. Freeze all Hamilton Corporation assets immediately. I swallowed hard and looked back at my son. He lay so quietly, as if asleep, but he would never wake again. Baby. My hands shook as I cupped his cold face. Wake up. Please look at mommy. Only silence answered me. His bright eyes were closed forever. I lifted my head and screamed, my throat raw. Gerald. You killed our son. You killed Miles. Gerald only tightened his hold around the woman, Tiffany, murmuring soft reassurances to her. When my words reached him, he frowned impatiently. Lorraine, what nonsense are you shouting? I was just disciplining him. He was too weak. That's not my fault. His words sliced through me like knives. This was the man I had loved for 10 years. The man I had chosen over my family. He was only 5. My voice cracked as I sobbed. He just splashed water, and you held him down until he couldn't breathe. He was your son, your flesh and blood. Tiffany whimpered, shrinking into his embrace. Gerald, I'm so scared. Lorraine looks so frightening. Lorraine, look at yourself, Gerald snapped. You're acting like a shrew. You're scaring Tiffany. A shrew. That was all I was to him now. Once, I had been the Olsen family's cherished daughter. My father, Luciano Olsen, was a man whose name struck fear in both the business world and the underworld. I was his only daughter, raised as his treasure. I had everything, until I met Gerald. He had been poor, unable to pay tuition, but proud and arrogant in a way that fascinated me. My father warned me. Gerald's eyes held ambition, not love. I thought defying my family for love was noble. So, I stole the household registry and married him. My father severed ties with me that very day. The millions I gave Gerald became his startup capital. I begged my father's old friends for projects, opening doors for him. His company's first major contract had been secretly arranged by my father, only out of respect for my late mother. The company flourished. Gerald rose to wealth, luxury, and prestige. At first, he treated me well, or at least pretended to. Then Tiffany returned 3 months ago. The high school classmate he had worshipped for years. The woman I resembled. The real one had come back, and the substitute could be discarded. Since then, he barely came home. When he did, it was only to mock me, calling me a washed-up housewife, worthless without my father. He forgot who had built everything for him. You call me a shrew? I rose unsteadily, pointing at Tiffany with pure hatred. You bitch. It was just a splash of water. Why did you scream like that? Her eyes welled with tears. Lorraine, how could you say that? I was really frightened. Miles kicked so hard. The water stung. Bullshit. My body shook with rage. He was 5. How much strength could he have? You did this on purpose, you. Enough. Gerald roared. He shoved Tiffany aside and grabbed my chin, his grip cruel. Lorraine, apologize to Tiffany. I stared at him, stunned. Are you out of your mind? Why would I? Because you scared her, he snapped. There was no grief in his eyes. No sorrow for our son. Only protection for Tiffany and disgust for me. Apologize. I laughed through my tears. Gerald, you killed your own son for this whore. And you want me to apologize to her? He deserved it. Gerald's eyes flickered with guilt, then hardened. He was rude first. As his father, what's wrong with discipline? He was just too fragile, that's all. Fragile. That was how he dismissed our dead son. Something inside me shattered. I raised my hand and struck Tiffany across the face with all my strength. She screamed, clutching her cheek, eyes wide. You're insane. Shut up, you bitch. I roared. That slap was for miles. I lunged at her, ready to rip her apart. But then Gerald's hand cracked across my face. His slap landed with brutal force, knocking me to the ground. My ears rang, my mouth filled with blood, and my vision blurred to black. Lorraine, do you have a death wish? He towered over me, glaring as though I were filth. How dare you lay a hand on Tiffany? You must be tired of living. Tiffany burst into tears, fragile and pitiful as she collapsed against him. Gerald, my face hurts so much. Has she gone crazy? He pulled her close, murmuring reassurances, his arms wrapped protectively around her. But when his eyes cut back to me, they brimmed with cold hatred. Kneel down. Kowtow to Tiffany. Apologize, or don't blame me if I beat you to death. Blood dripped from my lips. My cheek burned, swelling with every throb, but the physical pain was nothing compared to the agony inside me. I looked at the two of them, then at Miles' small, lifeless body lying nearby. Once, Gerald had embraced me in excitement, promising, Lori, when I succeed, I'll give you the best in the world. Lies. Every word a lie. He had never loved me. What he loved was my money, my family's influence, the Olsen name that paved his way. Now my family had cast me aside. His company was thriving. His first love had returned. And my son and I were nothing but obstacles. Miles' death means nothing to you, I whispered, my voice raw. Perhaps it even freed you. I forced myself upright, though my knees buckled, and I fell back to the ground. Gerald, you'll regret this. One day, you'll regret it. He let out a sharp laugh, cruel and mocking. Regret? Lorraine, look at yourself. You're nothing without me. A discarded daughter, abandoned by your own family. You had nothing but a burden, a little bastard dragging you down. Now, even that burden is gone. His words pierced me like ice. Let's end this cleanly. Tiffany is back. We're getting a divorce. The contempt in his tone chilled me. Tiffany, nestled sweetly against him, played her part, feigning compassion. Gerald, don't be harsh. Lorraine just lost her child. She must be in so much pain. The boy was mischievous, yes, but what? Gerald cut her off, gazing at her with tenderness that made me sick. Tiffany, you're too kind. That brat was ill-mannered, uneducated. His death was deserved. Better he die now than grow up to harm society. I did the world a favor. I snapped my head up, horror crashing over me. He had just called his son a burden. Tiffany's lips curled in the faintest trace of triumph. She quickly hid it, tilting her head in false concern. Gerald, stop. Lorraine doesn't look well. What if she does something foolish? Her. Gerald sneered. She's too vain to die. The only reason she married me was for money. Now that the company's thriving, she clings even harder to life. Die. She wouldn't dare. His shameless lies made me tremble with rage. Once, he had knelt before me, swearing he loved me for myself, not for my family name. Tiffany suddenly gasped, pointing at my pocket in mock alarm. Gerald. Her phone lit up. She's recording us. His expression darkened instantly. He lunged, shoving me aside, yanking the phone from my pocket. Give it back. I scrambled to my feet, desperate to grab it, but he dodged easily. As his eyes scanned the screen, fury twisted his face. So, you really were recording me? Planning to use this in court? Vicious woman. My stomach dropped. It's over. With a snarl, he raised the phone and smashed it to the ground. Crash. The screen shattered, pieces scattering across the floor. No. I cried, panic seizing me. My only evidence destroyed. But Gerald wasn't finished. Grinding his heel into the remains, he crushed the phone until nothing was left but shards. Let's see how you record anything now. Breathing heavily, he looked down on me with disdain. Tiffany touched his arm gently, her voice dripping with false kindness. Gerald, forget it. Lorraine must have acted on impulse. She just lost miles, she isn't herself. Her words sounded soft, but each one was salt in my wounds. Gerald's anger only deepened. Impulse? That gives her the right to hurt others? Don't defend her, Tiffany. A poisonous woman like this deserves punishment. He swept his gaze around the pool. The staff had vanished, and the few guests watching didn't dare interfere. Seeing their silence emboldened him further. Lorraine, I'll say it one last time. Kneel and apologize to Tiffany. He jabbed a finger at me, his voice a lethal command. Or, don't even dream of walking out of here alive. I lay on the ground, my eyes drifting from the shattered phone to Miles' lifeless body. Something inside me broke. My heart completely died. And perhaps that was a blessing, because now, when the time came to strike back, I would not hesitate. Slowly, I raised my head, a chilling smile curving my lips. Gerald, do you know what the Olsen Group's Level 1 contingency plan is? He froze for a second, then sneered. What kind of bullshit trick is that? Don't play games with me, Lorraine. The Olsen family already disowned you. Tiffany quickly added, feigning pity. Lorraine, are you hallucinating? The Olsen Group is a giant. It has nothing to do with you anymore. Yes. That's what everyone believed. That after my fallout with the Olsens, I had nothing left. Even Gerald thought so. But he forgot one thing, my father was Luciano Olsen. He might have declared he no longer had a daughter, but I am still his only child. His blood runs in my veins. And he had also forgotten that those generous cooperation projects in the beginning came with hidden clause, the harshest gambling agreements, and the strictest risk control clauses. Once triggered, there was no escape. The Level 1 contingency plan wasn't an empty threat. It was the Olsen Group's deadliest weapon, my final shield. Once activated, the family would stop at nothing to annihilate its target. With my phone destroyed, the emergency alert would have already been triggered. It wouldn't be long before they traced the signal here. The thought made me laugh. What are you laughing at? Gerald snapped, eyes narrowing. He gave a short, derisive chuckle. Trying to act crazy for pity? Lorraine, your tricks never end. I shook my head, blood dripping from my lips. You're both fools. Gerald, by now your company's funds should already be frozen. His face twitched, though he forced composure. Bullshit. Who do you think you are? The banks don't belong to you. And your properties, stocks, investments, I said slowly, deliberately. All sealed off by now. Tiffany giggled behind her hand, tugging his sleeve. Gerald, she really has gone mad, hasn't she? But in his eyes, I caught a flicker of doubt. Do you believe this lunatic? He barked. My company is running perfect. His words died when his phone rang. He frowned, pulled it out, and froze. It was his chief financial officer. Hello. Gerald's tone was sharp. Didn't I say not to bother me unless it's urgent? The CFO's panicked voice was so loud I heard it clearly. Mr. Hamilton. It's terrible. The bank froze all our accounts. They're claiming illegal operations. Every funding chain has collapsed. Gerald's face went white. What? That's impossible. Are you sure it's all of them? It's confirmed. Every single one. The Tax Bureau and Economic Crime investigators just arrived. They're demanding an audit. Mr. Hamilton, you must return immediately. Shouts and chaos bled through the line. Gerald's hand trembled. Sweat broke across his forehead. No, impossible. Everything was fine this morning. Another call came in, his private lawyer. With shaking fingers, Gerald switched lines. Mr. Hamilton. The lawyer's voice was tight with urgency. It's a disaster. All your personal assets have been frozen, including the villa you bought for Miss Tiffany yesterday. The bank says the freeze order came directly from the Olsen Group. What did you do to provoke them? Splash. The phone slipped from Gerald's hand, landing in a puddle. He stared at me, eyes wide with disbelief. Lorraine, what did you do? I pushed myself upright, wiped blood from my lips, and said coldly, Nah, how do you believe me? Tiffany clung to his arm in panic. Gerald, what's happening? Why would the Olsen Group do this? He shoved her aside and lunged at me, seizing my shoulders in a crushing grip. What did you do? Tell them to lift the freeze, now. I laughed bitterly at his desperation. Lift it? Gerald, did you forget? You just killed our son. My son. The only heir of the Olsen family. His face drained of color. You're lying. The Olsen family disowned you years ago. Disowned me? I sneered. Yes. But as long as Olsen blood runs in my veins, I will always have a place in that family. I leaned closer, each word sharp as a blade. And you killed their future heir. Gerald staggered back, his voice shaking. No, I didn't. I was only disciplining him. Discipline. I pointed at Miles' still body, my eyes burning. That's what you call this? Tiffany shrieked, rushing forward. Lorraine, stop your scare tactics. If the Olsen family cared, why did they ignore you all these years? She turned desperately to Gerald. She's bluffing. They won't help her. Like a drowning man clutching a rope, Gerald seized on her words. His panic gave way to shaky confidence. Yes, she's right. The Olsens don't care about you. They wouldn't. I cut him off with a laugh, razor sharp. Then explain this. I raised my voice, my smile cold as steel. Why have all your assets been frozen? The two of them froze, momentarily speechless. Then Tiffany's eyes flickered with malice, her lips curving into a cruel smile. Gerald, since the Olsen family cares so much about that brat, what if word got out it was Lorraine's fault, that she let the child drown by accident? A vicious spark lit Gerald's eyes. Yes. As long as we shut her up. The murderous intent in their gaze made my blood run cold. Tiffany leaned closer, her tone honeyed poison. There are no cameras here, no witnesses. If Lorraine were to accidentally drown as well, no one could prove a thing. The Olsens wouldn't dare touch us. Gerald's face twisted with savage glee. Step by step he advanced. Lorraine, don't blame me. Blame yourself for not knowing your place. I staggered back, panic rising in my throat. Gerald, what are you doing? His grin was a snarl. Sending you down to keep that little bastard company. He lunged, yanking a fistful of my hair and dragging me toward the pool. Let me go. Gerald, you're insane. I fought wildly, scratching and kicking, but his strength was merciless. Tiffany rushed to help, pressing down on my legs to pin me in place. Hurry, Gerald. Do it before anyone comes. My head was shoved underwater. The cold slammed into me, rushing up my nose and down my throat. Glug, glug. I choked, coughing, the chlorine burning my lungs. Gerald's grip was iron, forcing me down, refusing me even a gasp of air. My chest screamed. Blackness crept into the edges of my vision. My body convulsed, weaker with every second. Am I going to die like this? Just like Miles, drowned by the man I once loved? The last of my strength ebbed, my consciousness slipping. Boom. The pool doors burst open with a thunderous crash. A squad of black, clad bodyguards stormed in, their presence sharp and suffocating. Stop. Gerald flinched, his grip faltering. I broke the surface, coughing violently, each breath like fire and life all at once. Through my blurred vision, I saw a familiar figure at the entrance. Uncle Liam, my father's most trusted aide. Behind him, 2 rows of suited men stood like an iron wall, their expressions grim, their presence imposing. Uncle Liam's eyes swept the scene, freezing when they landed on Miles' small, lifeless body. His pupils shrank sharply. Miss. He rushed forward, catching me as I collapsed, his voice tight with panic. Are you hurt? Gerald and Tiffany stumbled back, pale with fear. Why you? Who are you? Gerald stammered. Uncle Liam's gaze cut through him, colder than death itself. Pulling out his phone, he spoke in a low, controlled voice. Sir, we found her. But the young master, he's gone. The other end fell silent. Then came a voice, low and glacial. Secure the scene. I'm on my way. Uncle Liam hung up, gesturing to the men. In an instant, Gerald and Tiffany were surrounded, wolves closing in on prey. What do you think you're doing? Gerald barked, trying to steady his trembling voice. I'm the president of Hamilton Group. This is illegal detention. Uncle Liam ignored him. Turning to me, his tone softened. Miss, tell me, what happened? My throat burned, my voice hoarse as I pointed at them. They killed Miles. And then they tried to drown me, to keep me silent. A deadly chill flashed through Uncle Liam's eyes. Without hesitation, he strode up to Gerald. Smack. The slap cracked across the pool hall. Gerald staggered back, clutching his cheek, stunned. You dare hit me? This slap, Uncle Liam said coldly, is from the master. He turned and struck Tiffany just as hard. This one is from the young miss. Tiffany shrieked, stumbling into Gerald's arms. Gerald, they hit me. Rattled but desperate, Gerald tried to roar. Do you even know who I am? I'm the president of Hamilton Group, the Olsen family son-in-law. Uncle Liam chuckled darkly, as though he'd heard the world's cruelest joke. Hamilton Group? As of this moment, it no longer exists. Gerald's face drained of color. No, no, you can't. Tires screeched outside. A tall figure strode in. The moment his eyes fell on Miles' lifeless body, his entire being shook as though struck by lightning. Miles. He staggered forward, kneeling beside the boy. His trembling hands brushed the cold, still face. Then slowly, he raised his head. His gaze swept past Gerald and Tiffany before locking on me. Lori, my father's teeth ground together, his voice raw with fury. Tell me, who did this? The sight of him, Luciano Olson, a man who rarely showed weakness, shattered the last of my restraint. Tears poured down my face. Dad. I collapsed into his arms, sobbing so hard I could barely breathe. It was Gerald for Tiffany. He killed Miles. And he tried to kill me too. His body stiffened. Slowly, he set me aside and rose, step by step, toward Gerald. His eyes brimmed with murderous intent, his face carved from stone. Gerald stumbled backward in terror, babbling, Dad, wait, let me explain. It was an accident. All an accident. Accident. My father's voice was quiet, deadly. His hand shot out, seizing Gerald's throat in an iron grip. Then let me show you what an accident feels like. Gerald's face flushed crimson, eyes bulging, tongue lolling as he clawed helplessly at the unyielding grip. Dad, have mercy, he rasped. Tiffany shrieked and bolted for the door, but two bodyguards plucked her off her feet and flung her back like a rag doll. Don't you dare call me Dad. My father's voice cracked like thunder. The Olsen family has no use for swine like you. He tightened his hold. Gerald's eyes rolled back, his body convulsing. Mr. Olsen, Gerald croaked, desperation spilling from him. Misunderstanding, it was an accident, the child slipped. Slipped? My father hurled him to the ground with bone, rattling force. Gerald gasped and coughed, snot and tears streaming down his face. My father planted a boot on his chest, grinding down. Gerald screamed in agony. My grandson slipped into the pool. You accidentally strangled him? You accidentally tried to drown my daughter too. Each word cut like a blade. Do you take me for a fool, Gerald? Tiffany crawled forward, clutching at his leg. Mr. Olsen. Please, it wasn't Gerald. It was the child. He kicked me. It hurts so much. Gerald only wanted to discipline him lightly. It was Lorraine. She didn't watch her son. It's her fault he died. Even now, she twisted the truth. Rage surged through me. My chest heaved as I lunged forward, seizing her hair and yanking her head up. Then smack after smack, I rained blows across her face, each strike harder than the last, the sound echoing through the hall. Lightly discipline? Then I'll show you how to discipline lightly. I'll show you pain. I'll show you what it means to slander me. Every slap carried the weight of my grief, my fury, my despair. Her face ballooned grotesquely, lips split, crimson smearing her cheeks. She shrieked and scrambled to shield herself, but she couldn't escape. Just as I hadn't been able to escape when she and Gerald did the same to me. Gerald tried to rise, but my father's boot pressed him down, leaving him curled in agony. Lori, my father said, voice calm and steady. Don't dirty your hands. I froze, chest heaving, staring at Tiffany lying in a heap like rotting flesh. But there was no satisfaction in my heart. Even if I tore her to pieces, my Miles would never return. My father removed his boot and crouched, eyes fixed on Gerald, who looked no better than a beaten dog. Gerald, he said slowly, voice cold as steel. Do you remember how you got your first $50 million contract when your company was just starting out? Gerald's eyes flickered, too afraid to meet his gaze. It was me, my father continued. For Lori's sake, I slipped it to you in secret. His tone sharpened. And 3 years ago, when your cash flow collapsed and no bank would lend you a cent, who made a single phone call and saved you? Gerald's lips trembled, his face drained of all color. It was me. My father jabbed a finger into his chest, fury boiling over. You think you're some kind of business genius? Bullshit. Without the Olsen family cleaning up your messes, you'd have gone bankrupt and jumped off a rooftop years ago. His gaze snapped toward Tiffany, shivering like a leaf. And you, that pathetic little gallery of yours, circling the drain just a few days ago, you suddenly landed a huge order, enough to keep you fed for 3 years straight. Do you know who arranged that? Tiffany's eyes widened in horror. You, how do you know? Because I was the one who bought it, my father sneered. I wanted to see what kind of woman dared humiliate my daughter. And this is what you've shown me. Gerald broke completely. He crawled forward, banging his forehead against the floor in frantic kowtows.
Dad.
Mr. Olson. I was wrong. I lost my head. I failed Lori. I failed Miles. Please, for the sake of 10 years of marriage, forgive me just this once. I'll give everything to Lori, the company, everything. 10 years of marriage? I spat, disgust curling in my chest. When you used me as a stepping stone to climb higher, did you remember those 10 years? When you slithered into bed with this whore behind my back, did you remember? When you pressed Miles down until he stopped breathing, did you remember he was your son? Gerald scrambled toward me, clutching at my leg. I stepped back in revulsion. Lori, listen. It was her. Tiffany seduced me. He pointed at her, shoving the blame onto her. She threatened me, said if I didn't divorce you and marry her, she'd expose us. I was forced, and the idea to kill you, it was hers. I just lost my mind. Tiffany's face twisted in shock. Her voice turned shrill. Gerald, you bastard. You told me Lorraine was a washed-up hag, that the Olson family didn't want her anymore. You begged me to come back. And you killed that child. You did it, not me. I never laid a finger on him. Liar. Gerald's eyes bulged with rage. You seduced me first. You told me you'd loved me since high school, said Lori stole your place. If you hadn't schemed that day, would I have lost control? You slut, I never should have trusted you. They tore at each other like rabid dogs, dragging every filthy secret into the open. My father's face didn't shift. Calm, unreadable. He lifted a hand. Uncle Liam stepped forward, offering him a tablet. Gerald, my father said, tossing it at his feet. Take a look. On the screen, Hamilton Group stock chart plunged straight down, frozen at limit down. Below it, news alert scrolled. Hamilton Group suspected of massive financial fraud. CSRC launches investigation. Major banks freeze all Hamilton Group accounts and assets. Business partners cut ties with Hamilton Group en masse. Gerald's body shook violently. No, impossible, not this fast. Fast. My father's laugh was cold, sharp. To crush an insect like you, the Olson family only has to lift a finger. He tapped open another live feed. Hamilton Group's headquarters was in chaos. Employees spilling out in panic, police cars parked outside, investigators unfurling yellow tape, while reporters swarmed like vultures. Your company, my father said, voice heavy as iron, is finished. Gerald dropped to his knees, sobbing like a child stripped of everything. No one pitied him. And you, Tiffany. My father's gaze cut toward her. She flinched violently, a yellow stain spreading beneath her dress. Your gallery has been sealed by the Tax Bureau. Tax evasion on a massive scale. Enough to keep you locked up for years. His tone was light, almost casual, but his words slammed her fate shut. Then he turned back to Gerald, his smile colder than winter steel. Murder.
Fraud.
Financial crimes. How many lifetimes do you think you'll serve? Gerald's eyes went wide with terror. This time, he crawled toward me, desperation raw and real.
Lori.
Save me. I know you still love me. You must. 10 years, Lori, 10 years. For the sake of everything we shared, beg your father, please. I'll die in prison. His tear and snot-streaked face twisted my stomach. How could I ever have loved him? I held his gaze, steady and hard. Now you remember our 10 years? Now you want me to beg for you. My voice cut like glass. Gerald, I don't just want you behind bars. I want you to repay everything you owe me and Miles tenfold. I want you to beg for death, but never find it. My father's approving nod was all it took. He glanced at Uncle Liam. Uncle Liam lifted his phone. Begin the sweep. Minutes later, uniformed officers entered, arrest warrants in hand. Gerald Hamilton. Tiffany Lopez. You are under arrest for premeditated murder and multiple financial crimes. Come with us. Gerald collapsed like a puppet with its strings cut, limp as mud while officers dragged him away. Passing me, he whispered hoarsely, Lori, save me. Tiffany thrashed wildly, shrieking, let me go. I'm innocent. Gerald forced me. The child, it wasn't me. He killed your son. No one listened. At last, the swimming hall fell into silence. I walked to Miles' side, gathering him into my arms. His body was soft, but so terribly cold. Dad, I whispered, my voice breaking. Let's take Miles home. My father's eyes shone red, but he nodded firmly. He slipped off his suit jacket, draped it carefully over Miles, then lifted him gently from my arms. Home, he said, voice choked. Dad will take you both home. Across the room, Gerald and Tiffany were shoved into separate police cars. Gerald howled, clinging to denial. Lori, for the sake of our 10 years, don't be so cruel. 100 days of kindness for one day as husband and wife, Lori. Tiffany's mask had completely shattered. Her hair was wild, her face twisted as she kicked and scratched like a rabid witch. Do you know who I am? I'm an artist. My work is worth a fortune. You filthy cops dare touch me? I'll see you all when I'm out. A female officer cuffed her wrists with a snap. Save it. With your tax evasion charges, the only walls you'll be painting are prison ones. The door slammed shut with a metallic bang. I stood frozen, watching the police cars pull away, sirens wailing. An emptiness hollowed inside me. 10 years, just a grotesque, living nightmare. Miss, Uncle Liam approached softly. The procedures are complete. Gerald's assets are frozen and moving into liquidation. Once he signs the divorce papers, it's final. He'll walk away with nothing. Thank you, Uncle Liam. He hesitated. Mr. Olson is at home, watching over the young master. Do you want to rest first? I shook my head. No. I need to see them. I have to. Otherwise, I'd be failing Miles. At the detention center, Gerald sat isolated in a single cell. The once proud CEO now wore an orange prison uniform, disheveled and broken. At first he had raged, demanding lawyers, demanding to see me. But after being taught by veteran inmates, he'd gone quiet. I stood beyond the bars, watching. When his eyes found me, they lit with desperate hope. He scrambled forward on hands and knees, clutching the iron bars. Lori, you came to see me. You've forgiven me, haven't you? Tell them to let me out. This place isn't fit for humans. His hand shot through the bars, clawing at the air to reach me. I stepped back, disgust curling in my chest. Forgive you. My voice dripped with contempt. Gerald, what makes you think I ever could? I was wrong. Lori, I truly know I was wrong. Tears and snot smeared down his face as he sobbed. I admit it. I'm a bastard. Less than human. I was bewitched by that slut Tiffany. I shouldn't have believed her lies. I shouldn't have hurt Miles. I loved him. I was his father. I almost laughed. Now he remembered love? When he forced Miles' head underwater, did he remember he was a father then? Without a word, I pulled out my phone, opened the latest news reports, and held the screen to his face. Gerald's eyes widened, his breathing turning frantic as he read. Snapping the phone shut, I said coldly, "The company you sold your soul to build? Gone. Your houses, your cars, your bank accounts, gone. Tax evasion, fraud, false accounts. You'll get no less than 10 years. And when you crawl out, you'll be nothing but a broke old man with a criminal record." I leaned closer to the bars, my voice sliding in like a blade. And don't think prison will be the end. My father has already made arrangements. They'll take good care of you inside. 10 years is plenty of time to strip you down to the bone. Gerald shook violently, gripping the bars until his knuckles whitened. No. Lori, you can't do this. Remember a day of love, a lifetime of debt. Think of the gifts I bought you, the meals I cooked for you. I'll serve you like a slave. I'll kowtow to you. And he did. He slammed his forehead onto the cement floor again, and again, until blood streaked across his skin. A slave? My laugh cut sharp through the air. You? Do you even have the loyalty of a dog or the strength of a horse? I tilted my head, as if remembering. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. Tiffany isn't your devoted first love. She's been juggling several men all along. You were just the easiest fool to bleed dry. Word is, she and her foreign lovers play very dirty. Gerald froze mid-cow, lifting his head in horror. No, impossible, she loved me. She said she liked me since high school. She lied. I cut him off merciless. She tells them all the same thing. Every big order her gallery landed? Just gifts from her patrons. Gerald, you've been cuckolded. His last fantasy shattered. He collapsed, retching violently until nothing came out but air. I didn't spare him another glance. I turned and walked away. Women's prison. Tiffany, who once flaunted her beauty to seduce men and wreck families, had left behind a long trail of enemies. Now that she'd fallen, everyone was eager to step on her. The moment she entered prison, An old rival fixed her in her sights. From then on, Tiffany received special treatment. Cold water dumped on her in the showers. Meals stolen. Sleep disturbed. Work made unbearable. At random hours, she was dragged away for heart-to-heart talks that ended with a swollen face and bruises. Her carefully crafted facade crumbled. When I came to see her, she was almost unrecognizable. Face puffed, hair hacked uneven, eyes twitching with fear. The moment she saw me, she shrank into the corner like a rat. Miss Olson, no. Lorraine, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. She dropped to her knees, knocking her forehead against the floor in a pitiful rhythm. It was Gerald. He forced me. He beat me if I refused. I was a victim too, still acting even now. I didn't waste words. I tossed a stack of photos at her feet. Shots of her with different men. In hotels, abroad, some indecent enough to silence any excuse. Your little patrons ran faster than anyone when you fell, I said flatly. One of them, Mr. Meyer, the one who spent the most on you. He's furious now. Says he'll make sure to thank you properly. Her face drained as she stared at the photos. Her lips trembled, but no sound came. You committed tax evasion. The sum is enormous. With aggravating circumstances, the minimum is 7 years. Add perjury and aiding Gerald's crimes? That's 10. 10 years, she whispered, her gaze hollow. I'm finished, my life is finished. That's right. My words were ice. You're finished. Enjoy your time here. I hear inmates love artists like you, always so eager for deep conversations. 1 month later, my divorce from Gerald was finalized. He signed the papers in a psychiatric hospital. After several failed suicide attempts, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia and transferred for compulsory treatment. His mind flickered between fragments of reality and madness. On good days, he clutched a torn pillow, sobbing Miles' name, begging to buy him the biggest Lego set. On bad days, he screamed that I had come to kill him, scrambling under the bed like a trapped animal. Perhaps madness was kinder than sanity. I went to see him one last time. Strapped into a restraint jacket, tied to a chair, he stared blankly out the window, muttering, Miles, Daddy is sorry. Daddy will build Lego with you, the biggest one. Lori wife. I'm home. What do you want for dinner? Tiffany bitch, you dare lie to me? I'll kill you. The nurse whispered that this was normal, that he lived entirely inside his broken world. When I stepped in front of him, his cloudy eyes flickered. A flash of fear, then emptiness. Who are you? He asked. The one here to watch you die. I replied calmly. He didn't understand. His head lowered again, mumbling Miles' name. I looked at him, this man I had loved for 10 years and hated with every fiber of my being, now reduced to something less than human, less than ghost. But there was no satisfaction, only exhaustion. I turned and walked away, never looking back. My life had to go on. As for Gerald and Tiffany, they could rot in their separate hells, repaying their sins inch by inch.